History doesn't just repeat itself, guys, it waits for the perfect moment to strike back. Think about it. 4 years ago in Qatar, Morocco's absolutely historic, boundary-breaking World Cup run came to a heartbreaking halt at the hands of France. It was a match decided by razor-thin margins and just elite execution. But fast forward to today, July 2026. The stage is set once again, but the power dynamic? It has completely shifted. France entered this 2026 tournament as the undisputed favorites, yet their grueling 1-0 survival against Paraguay proved that, yeah, they bleed. Meanwhile, Morocco has totally transformed from this feel-good underdog story into a clinical, giant-killing machine, taking down the Netherlands and just flattening opposition lines.
So will history repeat itself or strike back? Because this isn't just your standard quarterfinal. This is a battle for redemption, for tactical supremacy, and honestly, for the very soul of the 2026 World Cup. We're about to see two fundamentally different footballing philosophies clash on the biggest stage imaginable. Both managers know each other's secrets, both squads are absolutely loaded with elite European talent, and both nations carry the weight of massive expectations. So how is this tactical chess match actually going to play out? Let's get into it. Let's look at the raw data behind this clash, because it reveals a wild story. France's journey through the round of 16 was far from the dominant display fans expected. On the flip side, look at Morocco. They are riding an insane 34-match international unbeaten run. Under their new coach, Mohamed Wahabi, who stepped in just months before the tournament, by the way, they haven't just kept their defensive solidity from 2022, they've completely evolved into a possession-capable dominant force. They are the ones dictating the tempo of games now, and that completely flips the script on what France might have prepared for.
To really understand France's vulnerability right now, we have to look at how they played against Paraguay. Stifled by an ultra-aggressive defensive block, Kylian Mbappé and the entire French front line looked unusually isolated, really just grinding out a narrow win. Seriously, for 69 exhausting minutes, neither goalkeeper had to make a single meaningful save from a shot on target. France literally only survived thanks to a 70th-minute Mbappé penalty after a VAR review.
And when you dig into the numbers, the core issue for the French side is glaring. 0 goals from open play against Paraguay. In the first half alone, they whipped in 20 crosses, and guess how many were successful? Exactly 0. They recorded their lowest expected goals and shots on target of their entire tournament. Analysts are pointing to this really worrying structural stagnation in the French midfield. It's a lack of creative depth that teams are finally starting to exploit. They looked completely disjointed trying to thread the needle against that disciplined 5-man low block.
The root of all this structural stagnation? It's sitting right in their midfield. France's creative depth is taking a massive hit right now, particularly because star midfielder Aurelien Tchouameni is likely out with an adductor injury. That forces Mano Kane into a really pivotal role in the double pivot alongside Adrien Rabiot. Now, Kane brings immense physicality for sure, but he just kind of lacks Tchouameni's elite positional discipline. This often leaves the center circle totally exposed when attackers like Michael Elise cut inside. It creates this massive defensive vacuum that a smart team can and absolutely will ruthlessly exploit.
But hey, let's be fair to France here. Despite all their attacking woes, their defense remains an absolute iron wall. I mean, they have only conceded 2 goals in this entire 2026 tournament. That's wild. It's largely thanks to the center-back pairing of William Saliba and Dio Upamecano, who just have this terrifying recovery speed to neutralize counterattacks. Plus, manager Didier Deschamps employs this brilliant tactical safety filter. Right-back Jules Koundé consistently tucks inside horizontally to form a rigid back three when they have possession. It anchors the whole defense. But there is one looming shadow over this iron wall. Saliba has been battling some lingering back pain throughout the tournament. Against the blistering Moroccan transition, his physical endurance is going to be pushed to its absolute breaking point.
And you better believe Morocco's scouting team knows all of this. Unlike their sit-deep-and-counter style from back in 2022, the 2026 Moroccan squad plays with a highly sophisticated hyper-press system. They utilize this suffocating mid-block press. Instead of running themselves ragged pressing high up the pitch, they prioritize extreme central compactness. They don't just sit back and wait for you to make a mistake. They actively suffocate your passing lanes until you literally have no choice but to push the ball out wide into less dangerous areas or just turn it over entirely.
So how do they actually pull this off? Well, Morocco uses very specific pressing triggers. If France plays a backward pass, or if goalkeeper Mike Maignan distributes the ball short, boom, the trap is sprung. 18-year-old midfield prodigy Ayoub Bouadi and his partner Neil El Ainawi form this narrow midfield funnel. They absolutely clog up zone 14, that golden space right at the top of the penalty box. They force the ball out to the flanks, where Morocco's physically imposing fullbacks are just waiting to trigger a super aggressive ball recovery.
Because of this specific structure, I have a massive piece of advice for you while watching this explainer. Do not look at raw possession percentages in this match. Seriously, that metric is going to be completely irrelevant. Morocco will happily let France hold the ball in deeper, harmless zones all day long. The only metric that actually matters here is how many times France can successfully receive the ball between Morocco's midfield and defensive lines to break that rigid shape.
Which brings us to the absolute tactical focal point of this entire match. It all comes down to a single, world-class matchup on the wing. Achraf Hakimi versus Kylian Mbappé. Club teammates, close friends, and bitter international rivals. This is France's most explosive attacking weapon, going head-to-head with Morocco's most important transition outlet. It is the defining micro-battle that will dictate the entire rhythm of this quarterfinal clash.
This matchup creates a massive risk-reward dynamic on that flank. Hakimi loves to bomb forward with overlapping runs to control the tempo. But if he pushes too high, it leaves Moroccan center back Issa Diop terrifyingly exposed in a one-on-one foot race against Mbappé's blistering pace. In their previous encounters, France successfully pulled Morocco's defensive shape out of position by using overlapping fullbacks to isolate Hakimi. But in 2026, Morocco's transitional defensive rotation is flawless. By deploying a floating defensive midfielder to sit right in the half space, Morocco can effectively double-team Mbappé without sacrificing their central compact structure. If France cannot find a secondary outlet through the right side of their attack, they risk running directly into this tactical trap.
This psychological pressure of this duel is just immense. Think about it. Mbappé only needs one moment. He can be dead quiet for 89 minutes, and in one explosive run behind the defensive line, he can end your entire tournament. Hakimi, on the other hand, needs absolute, flawless concentration for the whole match. If Hakimi controls the matchup, Morocco can survive the pressure and break forward quickly. But if Mbappé wins the duel, France's overwhelming technical profile will eventually break Morocco down.
Everything we've discussed today, the midfield vulnerabilities, the mid-block press, that epic Hakimi-Mbappé duel, it all distills down to this one singular match. One match. There are no second chances here. 90 minutes, maybe extra time and penalties, to completely define the legacy of both of these incredible footballing nations. And remember, the winner of this blockbuster match will move on to face either Spain or Belgium in the semifinals.
The stakes couldn't possibly be higher. For France, a loss here would mean the catastrophic collapse of a golden generation's title defense. They desperately want to prove they are still the undisputed kings of world football. But for Morocco, a victory would cement them as an absolute global powerhouse. It would prove once and for all that their place among the elite in 2022 was never a fluke. It was a meticulously crafted blueprint that the rest of the world simply hasn't figured out how to solve yet.
The whistle is about to blow, guys, and the entire world is watching. This is the match that will define the 2026 World Cup. Will France hold the line and utilize their explosive star power to break the trap, or are we about to witness the biggest redemption story in modern football history as Morocco's tactical masterclass claims another giant? Let me know your exact score predictions in the comments below, smash that like button, and subscribe to keep up with our daily World Cup deep dives. I'll see you in the next breakdown.